And the main topic for today is joins. We will recap some of the stuff that we did in the last 2 weeks about logical files before we get to the joins. But today will be our last class with logical files. Then next week, we will be looking at SQL. The week after that, we'll be looking at SDA, spooling, query utilities, a bunch of topics from different areas in the book and outside of the book. And then on the 27th of November, you will be assigned your final exam, which will be due by the 4th, December 4th. And it will be due by midnight of December 4th. So that is the plan for the next 3 weeks. Okay, any questions?
Nope.
Then let's look at our today's lesson with some review. So we have learned about physical files. For a few weeks, we spent on physical files. Then after that, we went into logical files. If you are asked, what is a logical file? How would you define a logical file? You can use chat also if you want to write your definition in the chat. That's perfectly fine.
Can we say that logical file is like borrow data from physical file?
So logical file allows you to borrow data from the physical file. It doesn't hold any data. It's a valid file object, but it doesn't hold any data of its own. So it's always up to date because it always borrows data in real time from the physical file. Why do you need to do that? Why can't I just directly query the physical file? Why do I have to create a logical, what is the need of creating a logical file?
Isn't it like it's easier access to like looking up data? It's like, I don't know, like a small window. It gives you all this information that you need rather than someone saying only show
But
specific data.
why do you want to do that? Why do you want to hide some data?
Because you're not pulling all the data from that file.
But why?
Because maybe you'd want to only reference a specific record, or not record, but file number.
You don't want people to see stuff.
You do not want people to get exposed to information that they don't need to know. Exactly. For security reasons, you do not want people to know more than what they should. That's why we create logical files and grant access to different logical files on the same data set to different group of people who need to know only certain set of information. Now, when you're creating a logical file, logical files can be created of 3 types: vertical, horizontal, and hybrid, or mix of the two. What is a vertical logical file? A vertical logical file, what is that? A vertical logical file. What information is stored vertically in a physical file? What is vertical in a physical file? Is it record or is it fields or columns?
Fields.
Okay. So a vertical logical file would be a logical file that gives you access to entire data in one or more columns. That's vertical because it's giving you everything from a column, but it only selects some of the columns. Like the vertical, that's like the logical files we have created before. Like the logical files you created in your homework. That I want to select so-and-so fields from the physical file, that's it. What is a horizontal logical file? A horizontal logical file is the one in which you select all the fields, but of some of the records. You need to know the employee ID, the employee name, the employee address, the employee salary. You are selecting all 4 fields, and you're only selecting it for Wisconsin residents. That will be a horizontal demarcation. You select everything, but you only select it for some people. What will be a hybrid? The hybrid would be you select some column and some rows. For example, you only want to know the names of the Wisconsin residents who work for you. So in the employees table or in the employees physical file, you create a logical file and you say, okay, give me the first name and the last name, where the state equals to Wisconsin. So you get only 2 fields and you get all the records on those 2 fields. So you drop some records, you drop some fields. Does that make sense? Vertical versus horizontal versus a mix. Any questions about this?
No.
No.
So when you are linking a logical file with a physical file, what function do you call?
P file.
File.
P file. Okay. And the name of the physical file that you mention in the P file, is that in quotes?
No.
No, it's not in quotes. Okay. Can a logical file have a different record format name than a physical file?
Yes.
Okay. If a logical file does not has a key field, then, and you are selecting some of the rows, what else do you have to do to make it compile correctly?
Wait, what was the question?
If a logical file selects some of the rows from a physical file, and it does not define any key fields, what do you need to do in the logical file to compile it correctly?
Don't you have to write or type in DYSLT?
DYNSLT. And what does that stand for?
Dynamic select.
Dynamic select. Very good. Okay. Now, how many keywords are there? Give me a count for logical files. How many? And just give me a number.
Four.
Keywords. Say it again, mate.
4.
No.
Isn't that like the packed and stuff?
Say it again.
Is that like the packed in character? Is that
No,
that,
no,
or
no. I'm not talking about the data types. I'm
Oh,
talking
okay.
about
You're talking about
keywords.
like O S
Oh, okay.
R.
No. Those are not keywords. Those are name types.
Are you talking about like unique
Oh,
and are you talking about like unique and
No,
he's
you
talking about range values.
yes.
oh,
And
okay.
I forgot the other ones. Range values. Oh no.
There are three. Two of them you heard, which are range and values, and the third one is the one that's just Dylan typed in the chat, comp, values, and range. Values works on which relational operator? Values works on which relational operator? It works on which it works with which relational operator? Which relational operator do you use in the values keyword
Isn't it
instruction?
is it greater than or equal to?
No.
Is it selects and omits or omits?
The if I were to write a values instruction here in this green box, first of all, I need to write, okay, I select or omit, whatever it is, followed by a key field, values, now, can one of you please read this instruction for me? What does that instruction means? What does it mean? If you were to explain this line in English, what is that? What is it doing?
You're just selecting departments from IT sales and accounts.
Aren't you
And
calling
nothing.
everything in that range?
Is it a range?
No. It's value.
No.
Everything
No.
within that specific value. So like accounts like 1 to 3 or
So it basically says the department can be IT, or department can be sales, or department can be accounts, but it cannot be all three of them at the same time, right? So if it says department is IT, or department is sales, or department is accounts, is it looking for an exact match?
Yes.
Okay, even to the case? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So when you're looking for an exact match, which operator is it that you're using? exactly what Dylan said in the chat. It is always equals. Equals is the only one that looks for an exact match. So which relational operator is used by values? Values uses equals operator. That if the records department field is equals to IT, or is equals to sales, or is equals to accounts, then that record should be selected. So equal, you do not write it, but that's how it works. It works on equality only. It can't work on greater than, less than, greater than equals to, less than equals. It can't work on any of the other operators, but equals to. Okay, so that is the relational operator that is being used between these values. Okay. Which other operator other than equals is used in the values? Which other operator is used besides equals?
Does not equal.
No, it doesn't use does not equal. It doesn't. It uses that operator. You know, it's not something that is opposite of what it uses. And I already gave you that answer, by the way. Can anybody repeat me what I said about that instruction? How do you read that? How would you say that statement in plain English? The one in the green box.
Is S select?
Okay, select what?
Select department values, and you're selecting those three values.
Say it again, and we are selecting what?
You're selecting IT, sales, and accounts.
We're selecting IT, sales, and accounts. We're selecting all three of them.
One or that one or the other one.
Okay, so what word did you use between the three values in your statement?
Or
Uh-huh. That is the operator that it uses between the values. It uses two embedded operators that you don't have to code, but it uses them. It OR all the values, and then it checks the field called department for every record that it reads to see if it matches any one of these values. Okay. Now comp. How many operators in total out of like can comp use, or how many different types of operators can comp use?
Eight.
8, which are these. None of them are written in symbols. They're all spelled out in a way like abbreviation spelled out. And then what happens is that, here's an example. Let me zoom in, or let me increase the size. Okay. And we will be looking at the very last line. And what does that very last line tells us? The very last line tells us that select all those records where department equals sales. Now that EQ could be replaced with any of those 8. Not equals to, greater than, less than, and so on and so forth. Can I use greater than or less than or greater than or equals to or less than or equals to with string or Not text. Or these are for numbers only.
Yeah, numbers only.
Numbers only. Okay. No. They're not numbers only. You can use any one of these 8 operators, even with text. How? How is that possible? How is that possible that I could use equality? I could use operators other than equality with text. It doesn't really make sense. But how does the computer makes that work? How does your computer differentiate between uppercase and lowercase letters when you press the same key?
If your caps lock.
Well, that's for us. Computer doesn't know what caps lock is. How does it differentiate? And what exactly does caps
Oh.
lock do? Right. Go ahead.
I forgot. I know what you're talking about, but I forgot. I remember it. Isn't it like I don't? It's like I don't remember. It's like on the tip of my tongue, though.
Okay, I try it. It's like what?
Because I think we learned this in
Hey, we did. We did
programming
it.
class.
Yes, we
Yeah.
did.
Isn't it like it's like an array thing, like where it selects like I don't remember. I don't remember. I don't remember it. I really don't.
Actually, every key on the keyboard is mapped to a number.
Yeah, see,
Okay.
that's where I was getting to, but I just didn't remember.
So
Like,
when you turn on the caps lock, you're turning on the switch. And that switch says that now when the same key is pressed, it now generates a different number. It's just like a light switch on or off, right? What is the difference between the numbers 90 and 65? What is the difference between these two numbers, 90 and 65?
90 is greater than 65.
No. What is the difference? Difference means like subtract. Take away 65 from 90. What's left over?
25.
25, right? So every time you turn on the caps lock and you press any of the letters on the keyboard, it subtracts 25 from the number that gets generated. Okay, do you get it this far? I'll tell you the next step. Lowercase letters start with 90. So lowercase a is 90.
Oh yeah, doesn't this go up to like a million or something?
No, and uppercase a would be what? I just gave you the answer, guys. Come on. What number did I ask you to subtract from 90?
You're talking about 25.
65.
Yes. Yes.
65.
65. So every time you turn on the caps lock and you press the key, whatever number it represents, it subtracts 25 from that number, and now the number is that. So uppercase B is 66. So what would be lowercase b? Now you will add 25 to it. What would that be then?
91.
Exactly. So lowercase letters are 90 on, no, sorry, I made a mistake here. No, it's not 90, my bad. Hold on a second, let me backtrack. Lowercase a starts with 97, not 90. Uppercase a starts with 65. It's not 25. The difference is 32. not 25, 32. Sorry. So the difference is 32. So every
So
time you
97.
press, yeah. So A would be, sorry, B would be 98
98.
and uppercase B will be 66, right? So it's a difference of 32. So every time you press a key, it subtracts 32. I don't know, I was stuck on 90. Similarly, when you press 0 on the keyboard, that's equals to 48. 1 will be 49, and so on and so forth. So that's why, since all the letters are actually numbers, it can do comparison. So between Adam and Adam, I'll give you two atoms. Tell me which atom is greater, the first one or the second one?
The first one.
Like you talking about greater, like numbers wise, like added all together?
Remember, all the letters have a number behind the scene.
Isn't it the second one?
Okay,
'Cause
and
M is
do lowercase letters have higher number or uppercase letters have higher number?
lowercase has higher number.
Lowercase. Okay, so which one of the two names has a lowercase letter?
The second one.
So which one of the two will be higher?
The second one.
Exactly, because when you're comparing strings, it goes letter by letter. First letter is same, go to the second letter. If second letter is same, go to the third letter. If third letter is same, go to the fourth letter. And that's where it found one to be greater than the other. So if you have these two names in the list, then the second one will come out to be greater than the first one. Okay. Now, let's say I give you a list. Okay, everybody see this list? What names are greater than Alan? Can you tell me in the chat? Or which names are greater than Alan? What are you guys thinking? Okay, I knew you guys were not getting it. Okay. All the names that start with A are all at the same level. Okay. Now comes the second letter L. So look at the
Yeah, 'cause
names
it's
again.
It's a
Okay,
higher.
L of Alan and L of Ali match, right?
But there's another L.
But Aaron's letter A is less than the second letter of Alan. So Aaron is out the window. Do you follow that? And M of Amy is greater than L of Alan. So Amy is selected. Joe and Mark are selected anyway because they are greater than A. Now comes the battle between Alan and Ali. Alan's third letter is L, and Ali's third letter is I. Which one of the two is greater, L or I?
L.
So Ali is also out the window. So the names that are greater than Alan are Joe, Amy, and Mark. Does that make sense to you guys? Or still not clear about it?
One more example.
Okay. List all names less than Mary.
James. Isn't it just James, Jim, and
You
Carl?
write your answer in the chat. Don't speak out your answer. And it says all names. Don't just answer one. Make a list and then type in the chat. And if somebody has already answered, don't worry about it. You give your answer. Two people have responded so far. Okay. 3. We need more people to respond to this question. 4 people have answered. Three names were a piece of cake, right? You could easily pick them right away. Since I asked less than Mary, so any letter that is less than M is automatically a choice. So all of you went with James, Jim, and Kara. Good enough. However, you missed one, Maria.
I got it.
Yeah, one person got it, but I'm talking about those who did not get it. Because the first 3 letters are same, so now it will compare the 4th letter, and Mary has Y and Maria has I.
Oh, okay, I get it now.
Okay, so Maria becomes less than Mary. Everybody got it now? Okay. Likewise, we can also compare dates. So we can say that I want to select those people who were born after. So what would be after? Which operator would I use for after from this list? Which one did you say?
Greater than.
Greater than, right? If I say I want to see all those people who were born after the last day of the last century, which date will I write? What was the last date of the last century?
December 31st, 1999.
But how will I write it? Here,
Don't you do the year first and then the
right? So 1999, and then
isn't it month and day?
month and then date, okay? So I just wrote in the chat. Oops, I made one mistake. I only sent it to one person. Okay. So select date of birth where the value is greater than that value. So you can also use dates. Range. Range allows you to use a min and a max value. So here we have an example of a range where we are selecting salary, which is within this range of 20,000 and 34,500. So all the values within that range will be selected, inclusive of 20,000 and 34,500. Okay. Do you guys remember that when we use two selects, what does that mean? If I have a select on one line and I also have select on another line, what does that mean?
Wouldn't it only select it from sales then?
Mm-mm. I need more concrete answer. What exactly will these two lines mean? How would you read or what would you say? What kind of data will be selected if these two lines are there at the bottom? Nope. When you have select after select,
Is it that it states that both conditions are true? That the record is selected for the logical file?
no, it's basically what Sebastian wrote in the chat. It will first select everybody who make salary in this range. Doesn't matter which department they work for. If they fall within that salary range, they are selected, and all those selected criteria records are now removed from the data set and set aside. Out of the remaining ones, it will now select those who are in sales department. So it acts like an OR in that way, but this is the sequence in which it does it. It first select data on the first criteria. irrespective of the second criteria. Then all the records selected are now removed from the data set. And now out of the remaining, it now based the selection on the second criteria. So it just goes in steps like that. So basically, either the employee is making salary within that range, or an employee works for department sales. Either of the two criteria the employee meets will be selected. Got it?
Yes.
Now, if I drop the S from the second line, how will this behave now? Yep, it will now check for both conditions to meet for every record. So basically, it will now select only those people who are making salary within the range of 20,000 to 34,500, and they work in sales department. So if anybody is not within that range, will not be selected. If somebody is within that range, but does not work for sales department, will also not be selected. It will only select those folks who meet both criterias. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? That how the AND works when multiple conditions are in the same select, and how OR works when you write select on each instruction.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if I change it to this form, how will this read now?
You're getting rid of sales because you have omit in department.
So basically, it will select everybody who makes money in that range. And then it will go ahead and omit anybody who is not in sales. So anybody who works in sales, but is in that salary range, will be selected. So there may be some sales employees who are meeting the first criteria be already selected, because by the time you hit the second criteria, they were already selected. So now out of the remaining ones, it will only omit the ones who are salespeople and will select everybody else. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Now, let's reverse the sequence. If we reverse the sequence, now what will happen?
It's going to list everybody in the database whose salary is in that range, regardless of department.
Missed one thing. First, it will omit all salespeople, because I pushed the omit line first. Everybody in the sales department will be gone, irrespective of how much money they make. Out of the remaining people, it will now select based on the salary criteria. Okay?
Gotcha.
Anybody else has any questions? There are a few pages in the book that I want you to review, so I will write those page numbers in the chat. I want you to review the page 348 and 349, which are figures 8.9 and 8.10. Okay, which one of the two figures is the physical file?
It's
8.9.
8.9.
Okay. And the other one is a logical file. How did you figure that out?
It's abbreviated on the left corner, LF and PF.
Okay. How else? What else?
It's referring to P file, which is the MPPF.
Very good. So there are a couple of indicators. One is in the format, which is LF versus PF. The other one is calling the P file. Okay.
Also, there's no length or like data type, anything.
Exactly. None of the fields have any descriptions attached to them in the logical file, whereas in the physical file, they do. However, it is possible for a logical file to override some of the default. Okay, now I want you to turn to page 351 and look at figure 8.12. Okay, now what is it that you find different between figure 8.10 and 8.12?
Line 15 is an omit department that is compared to equals to human resources.
So basically, it is saying that I want to omit all the records where department is human resources So it will select everybody but people in human resources. What else is different between the two figures?
You're keying out first and last name.
So 8.10 doesn't has keys, 8.12 does. Excuse me. So why would you want to have keys in the logical file? Why would you want to have keys in the logical file? What does a key do, by the way? Who remembers that? What does key do?
It's for unique field types that you can search for.
Keys can be used even without the word unique. What unique and key combination does allow the field to not have duplicates, though. But keys, the main idea is you want to index every record so that the data retrieval is faster. If the logical file is querying fields other than the key field in the physical file, for faster data retrieval, you want to promote some other fields to the key status. That's why you may see that logical file may also have different keys than the physical file. Everybody see this? Now I want you to turn to page number 358 and look at figure 8.18. This is that figure. These are two separate physical files. One is called zippf, and you can see its name in the top right corner. The other one is called EMPPF underscore 7.1, and you can see its name in the top right corner as well. One physical file holds information about zip code, city, state. The other one holds information about employees. Employee 1 has a key field employee number, and zip code has a key field zip. Is there anything common between the two physical files?
They both have zip code in it.
They both have a common field called zip. Okay. Now, is the field description also exactly the same between the two physical files for the zip field?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Now, in physical files, when they are created, they cannot establish relationship with another physical file. So this is how we do it. We create independent physical files, but we give them common fields, and the common fields have the same field description. Now comes the question, why would you want to do that? Now look at it like this. If I want to know the name of the state for every employee, can I do that only by querying the employee PF table?
No.
No. However, if I can put the two data sets together, I can pick the zip code of the employee in the employee table, an employee physical file. I can go to the zip physical file and say, okay, match the zip code. Wherever it gets matched, I will grab the state and I'll say, okay, this is the state of that employee. Do everybody follow that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in order to make this happen, we have to use logical file. And that's our focus for today, that when you want to match data between two separate physical files, the only way to do that will be through a join logical file. And how do you create a join logical file is what you will now be looking at. Turn to page 359 in your books, where you will be looking at this example. Now, we are not using p-file function anymore. Rather, we are using a different function called j-file. Look over here on the very first line. You now have a function called j-file. J-file function allows you to list both physical files that now needs to be joined. Second line. On the second line, you start with J. From the same drop-down box that you have been picking R's and K's and S and O, this letter was left in that drop-down box. This is the only letter we have not yet talked about. That's J used in join. What you do after that in the functions area, you call a function join and you give each one of the physical file object a number. So now EMPPF is 1 and ZipPF is 2. You have numbered them. Why do you want to number it? I'll explain it to you. On the third line, you're like, okay, let me tell you the common fields. So the zip is the common field between the two, where the first zip comes from EMPPF, the second zip comes from ZipPF. So you need to build your case like that in the logical file. Now you can start listing the fields from both sides without a problem. The only problem comes in is when you list the common field. Since common field is found in both groups, that's why you need to now use a JREF, and this is where you will use that number, 1 or 2. You could use either of the two, doesn't matter, because they both will only be displayed when they're matching. Okay?
So will there never be a case to use both numbers then?
Say it again.
So there won't be a case to use both 1 and 2?
There is no point of doing that, because if you make another entry of zip and you write JRF2, it will be the same zip code because it will only display the matching records. Follow that?
Yep.
Okay. So that's why we only pick one of the two. So if there is a zip code in the zip physical file that has no matching in the employees, then that zip code will not even be displayed. And vice versa. If there is an employee in a zip code and that zip code is not in the zip, that employee will not even be picked. So it only works on matching records. So for every employee, we have to make sure at a data entry level that no zip code entered for any employee is such that it is not in the zip folder. If that would be the case, then then it would not pick some employees because they won't have matching zip codes. So what are the 3 things to keep in mind, or 4 things to keep in mind? Number 1, you do not use P file, you now use J file, and you list all the members that needs to be connected. You number them, and then you write the common fields. And if you're picking a common field, then you need to reference the common field. Got it? Okay. I want you guys to now turn to page number 362. And this will be figure 8.2. Oh, 8.20. What is the difference between 8.20 and what you see on my screen?
It's got the line 6 is the DYN SLT.
And why are we doing that?
To select.
Exactly, because we have a selection criteria at the bottom without a key. So we are saying that we want to select all those people who live in Kenosha, or they are in this keyboard, in this zip code range. Okay. Okay. Now turn to page number 371. Turn to page number 371. And I believe you'll be looking at something like this there. Right? Okay. Now notice over here that every project has a project member. That means projects are done by project members. How are the project members and project connected? How are these two people connected? What is common?
It's the project CD or oh my gosh,
Project CD,
project
right?
JCD. Yep.
Yeah, here, okay. And how are these two people connected?
From EMPNO.
Employee number. Awesome.
Yep.
Okay. So between the three logical files, I can display the name of the employee who is working as a member on a project. So I can grab a project ID. I can go to the project member and say, okay, give me the employee number who is on that project. And then using the employee number, I can go to the employee PF and say, okay, give me the last name of that person. You see the sequence here?
Yes.
Okay. And this is done by joins as well. But you will, at any given point, join two members. And then from there, you'll join the next two members. Let me show you how those joins will look like. So if you now look at this diagram here, or this figure here, that's coming from page number 372, figure 8.30 of your books. So now notice you still have J file, but notice in the J file, you have three members listed. You use two joins. Two times you use J. The first J says, I'm talking about the first two members listed. So I'll call the first one 1, the second one 2, and this is the common field, project CD. Then I'm creating another join between 2 and 3, and this is the common field, employee number. Then when I'm listing the fields, if I list a common field, I got to give the reference as to where is it coming from. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah, just don't know where that B is coming from though.
Oh, as I told you before, that it is possible for your logical file to come with its own data type for the field, and override the existing data type. So the logical file has decided that employee number will now be treated binary type in this logical file, as opposed to its original packed type. Okay, now I want you to understand the data set by looking at, turn to page number 374. Pages 374 through 376. Pages 374 through 376. Basically, it shows you, the 374 shows you the data in the project file. 375 shows you the data in the member. And 376 shows you the data in the employee. Briefly look at the data set. Okay, now this is slide number 46, where I showed you how the three members are connected. And now look at the output on page 378 and match that output with this source file that you're looking at on my screen. So page 378, figure 8.35. Look at the first column is project code. Then we have project description. Then we have the project LDR, the leader of the project. Then we have the hours worked, estimated hours worked. Then we have an employee number. Then we have an employee's last name, and then the first name, and then the hours. So that's how you will be able to relate the data set. That the project code is the common one between member and project, and employee number is common between project member and employee. Okay. Everybody good? Any questions so far? Okay. So I think it'll be a good time to take a break here. When we come back from the break is when we will do our hands-on activities with joins. So we will be creating physical files. We will be loading them with data sets. Then we will be joining them in our logical file. And then we'll be doing some more examples of that. So let's take a break till 7:40. When you guys come back at 7:40 is when we will start working with that on V2 Cloud. So upon coming back at 7:40, maybe you want to log into V2 Cloud. So I'll see you guys at 7:40. Come back. I hope everybody is in the process of logging into V2 Cloud. And once you are in V2 Cloud, open RDI and give me a green check when everybody's ready. When you're ready, give me a green check. So once I receive it from everybody, I'll know that we can begin. So we're waiting for Connor. Connor's the only one left. And okay. As soon as we get our okay from Connor, we will then get started. And just so that you guys know, there will be one question in the hands-on portion of the exam, final exam I'm talking about, which will be related to this. So that's why it's very important for you to understand this and do this. And also the homework assignment will help you, apply it again. So it's a very, very important component for your final hands-on part where you will be asked to create physical files, populate them with data, and then once you are done populating them with data, create a logical file to join the physical files. So your final exam hands-on part, you will have multiple hands-on parts for your final exam, just so that you know. So one of the hands-on parts will be for joins. And since we do a join example, that will automatically cover the physical files. That will automatically cover how to add data to the physical files. That will automatically cover working with logical files. So doing join examples sort of kind of help us do a lot of things that we have done in the last 5 weeks. So that's why expect one of the hands-on parts on the final to be about joins. Connor, you ready now? No, I can't hear Connor. If you're speaking, Connor, I can't hear you.
Sorry about that. I am.
You are ready. Okay, cool. Okay. So let me share my screen first. And then let's all go to your FA23 initials B. FA23 initials B, right click on it to create a new member. The name of this member will be store amps B, and this will be a physical file. Store amps. So I have 2 E's in the middle. So one is for store and one is for amps. And then the letter B. Okay, now hit finish. Another question people ask me that, can I use green screen? Yes, now from now on, it's your choice. If you want to do green screen, that's fine. If you want to use RDI, that's fine. Either way, I'm good. Okay, so we will first of all.
Sorry to interrupt, but I can't make a new member for some reason.
Did you make sure that in the top right corner you are in RSE?
Oh my god, I'm at database.
Okay, that's why.
Yeah, my bad.
That's fine. Let me know when you can do that.
Oh, my computer's acting weird.
It's fine.
So, okay, so go under desk star, right? Then library list,
Yes.
and ITPA, okay, then fall 23 MG.
Your
There it
initial
is.
B,
Yep, I
and
got
then
it.
click. Okay, got it
The
now.
member. Okay, and then what was the member name?
It is store, STORE, and then EMPSB.
So store EMPSB.
Yeah, I will write it in the chat just so that you know.
Thank you. Sorry about that, everybody.
That's okay. Store amps. It's a learning experience. Now, other people will also remember this, that from this point onwards, if they have a right click and they can't see the members, they got to check to see if their perspective is the correct perspective.
And this is going to be blank P for physical file.
Yeah, PF for the yeah, the member
Yep,
type is
and then
PF, correct.
finish.
It's okay. It's rather better to make mistakes now and than getting stuck in the middle of the final and say, oh my God, what
All
should I
right.
do now? So,
Yeah, I know that. The homework assignment kind of messed me up, but I did understand it later on.
so now that we are here, oops, I need to reconnect. Okay, so the first thing is on the very first line, I will put unique. I will be creating the fields. You guys know how to work with this environment, so. When you're entering the data, please pay attention to hours worked field, because sometimes students make a mistake that they do 3P2 thinking that both fields are 3P, that they're both P2s, but the second one is P1. The first one is P2. Because if you say 3P2, that means you are putting only one digit for the whole number part. So that's why it's important for you to do 3P1. That means I have 2 digits for the whole number part and 1 digit for the decimal. So whoever gets done creating this, you can go ahead and compile by creating PF to make sure that it compiles successfully. Is everybody done or anybody still coding?
Should we just give you a green check to show you we're done?
Well, yeah, please, so that, that'll be nice. That way I could keep track easily. The 4 people are done. As more people get done, or when all of you are done, then we will move on to our next physical file. And that will be the physical file with the common field, and the common field will be department number. And then we will compile that one as well. Then we will add data to each one of them. Then we will go and create our joins. So we're still waiting for what? Caden and Sebastian. Okay. Okay, everybody's done. Awesome. So we will now move on to our second one. Let me clear the feedbacks here. Okay. So let's create our next member here. And the name of the member will be DEPTB. DEPTB, and it'll gonna be physical file. How about we create the join also, and then when we do the data, we will test everything else. I think that'll be much faster that way, that you don't have to go back and forth between the two perspectives. Because the physical files are created, so even if they're empty, you can still create the logical file. So please give me another set of green checks when you guys are done compiling this. Okay. So how about we create our logical file also in the same place, create a new member, and we will call this member our DEPTEMP LF1. And don't forget to choose LF from the list. I called it DEPT EMP LF1. Okay. Now, in this logical file, we will choose the record format, REC LF1DE. And what do I put in the functions, guys? Who remembers that?
J file.
J file. Very good. J file. And then I can list both of my files. What are the name of my files? Store emps b space deptb. Those are my files. Okay. On the second line, what do I do on the second line?
Don't you do join one?
Join 1, 2. Still, this is incomplete. What else do I have to do? I got to go to the name type and choose J from the list. Okay, the J from the name type and join 1, 2. Then I need to pick the common field, which is department number. That's the common field. And now let me list the fields that I want to display. First name, last name. These will come from employees. And for every employee, I want to display their department name. So I have to make sure that the department number matches. Based on the matching department numbers, it will display the name of the department, because department name is not part of the employee data set. So if you want to see which employee is in which department name, then you can join them and connect them on department number as a common field. So now once this is done, I can simply compile it to create the logical file. And the logical file got created. Okay, please give me green check whenever you guys are done creating the logical file, and then we will transition to the database development perspective, and then we will add data to the tables, and then we will view the contents of the logical file to make sure that the data can be seen. Okay, so we are waiting for Connor and Sebastian. Okay, I hope there are no errors. Okay, Connor is the only one left right now.
Yeah, I have errors.
You have errors. Okay. Do you can you fix it yourself? If you double click on the error, it will take you to the line where it is generating the error, just so that you know. And then you can match. Make sure that you have typed the J file names correctly. Make sure your field names are typed correctly. Sometimes people make a mistake that when they're copying from me, they make a spelling mistake in their member names or field names. Then they type what I type and things don't work because they have to work with the names they have on their end. Were you able to figure it out, or you need help?
I figured out the first one, but I still don't know what the other two are
Okay.
yelling at me about.
Oh, did you start, or you're starting to look into the other two now, or you already did?
Yeah, I need help.
Share your screen. Do you see a space between DEPT and NO? Right, that's one field name, no space between the field name, right? Enter. Then compile. Okay, got it.
So my microphone was muted. I don't know what happened because I removed the space and it added itself back in. So that was weird. Maybe I forgot to save it. I don't know.
Quite possible. Or sometimes, you do that and you forget to hit enter. So it is not reported on the sheet. It was only in the prompt.
Right, maybe.
So now that everybody is done with this, now let's transition to the database development perspective by clicking on those database development symbols. And now you are in database development perspective, and open that star. And then open schemas, and then open ITPA. Where should you go to check your logical files?
View tables.
Where?
Oh, views, my bad.
Views, right? And in the views, if you scroll, do you see DEPTEMPLF1 in the list?
I don't, so do I have to refresh it?
Try refreshing it. Right click on views and refresh to see if that helps you see it.
Yes.
Okay. Now you right click on it and go to data and click on return all rows. Nothing will show up. The reason is because those physical files are empty. That's why nothing is showing up. So that's exactly as soon as we are done adding data is when you will start to see things showing up in the list. Okay, everybody get to see it? Nothing in it?
Yep.
Okay. Now let's collapse the views and let's expand the tables. And we want to go to this table called store EMPSB and data and edit. Okay. Now, how do you start adding data? You simply click on it and you start entering values. and you don't hit enter, you just keep hitting tab and keep hitting clicks until you reach the very last record. That's where you hit enter, and then you hit Control S. So what I will do next, guys, I will share with you a slide where it shows you what data I want you to enter in each of the two members. So go ahead, enter the data that you see at the top in the first one, which is the amps, and the one at the bottom is the one that should go in the second one.
Are you referring to number, oh, my bad, number 10 should go in the second one? Oh, never mind. Sorry, forget that.
Oh, you guys, can you see my, oh, you're not able to see my screen? That's strange. Can you see it now or no?
It's 'cause you
I
got
can
the-
see it.
Yeah, it's because you got the.
Yeah, a couple of people said that they were not able to see my screen. Okay.
It's telling me on my last one because I already did the second one, but for my store in EMBS, it's saying that the save failed.
In your store EMPS, it is telling you that your save failed.
Yeah, it's saying it failed.
And you entered all 10 of these records.
Yeah.
Well, you might have made a mistake somewhere. I can let me have a look at yours then.
Uh, yeah, it's saying it failed right here.
Oh,
Because it's letting me do this one. Like this one saved successfully, but it says
okay.
store.
Can you expand your views in the bottom left corner?
Yeah.
And scroll down, right click on the department. Yep, that one. Right click and return all rows. Okay, so 3 of your records went through, which are Sam, Carla, and Sam Jackson. And
Mhm.
after that, starting from, oh, because you wrote 113 twice. Look at your 4th record. You
Oh,
wrote
right here.
113 again,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Yeah, so change that to 114 and hit Control S. Still failed. Okay. Right click and return all rows again. Let me see if anything changed or still it's still 3. Okay. Now go to where it says 23 in the very last one, the very last cell, and hit enter. And now hit Control S. Still fail. Okay, try right clicking on the view and see if it update. No, at the on the department view and return all rows. Still stuck at number 3. Okay. Yeah, usually when it fails, it's stuck. Okay, go to the end of that 114 where you see 14. Yeah, and hit enter there. And now hit Control S. No, that also failed. And it doesn't say anything in that failed description if you double click on that. No. Okay. No, it doesn't do anything else. No. Okay. Commands log.
Something else. That was the home
No,
record.
that's something else. It's not related to
Should I
this.
just retype it? Should I redo all the rest
Yeah,
of
I
it?
mean, like you may have to retype the last 7 again, probably close the tab and not save it. And then right click on it and right click on the table.
Which one was it? This one? Yeah. Edit.
And then data edit. Okay. Now let me share my screen again.
What's under the content of department number? Because I can barely read it. I'm using my phone again.
Oh, which one?
So you know where it says department number and department name. I have IT and accountant, but I don't have the rest. Is it 30 marketing, 40 sales, and then is there a 5th line or is it just those 4?
Yeah, 50 is support and 60 is training.
Could you text that in chat?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So which one? Only the last two?
Yes.
Okay, so 50 is support. And 60 is raining.
It's still saying failed.
Say again?
It's still saying failed for me.
Let's have a look at it. Let's do one record at a time. Let's see. Can you share your screen?
Yeah.
Let me direct. Oh, okay. Close it and let's try to do one record at a time. Close it.
Oh, I
and
see
then-
where you messed up, by the way.
Well.
Oh, so okay, it was number 19. It had 3 zeros rather than the 2, so it's reading what, 10,000?
Okay, click. Oh, okay. So at least you only have to do the last two. Okay, so I think number. Okay, I'll share again for you to do the last. Okay.
Okay, one more time. Okay, so 103. There we go. Yeah, okay.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
So whenever you guys complete both physical files with data, go to views and then right click on that view that we created and then go to data and then return all rows, and you should be able to see the first name and the last names of all the employees, and with every employee you should see a department name. So for those of you who have, are these green checks from before or are these new?
Pretty sure it's from before.
Oh, these, okay. So let me clear the feedbacks for everybody to give me new green checks that they were able to see the data. When they're right-clicked and on their views and view the contents. And this basically will show you that how you were able to grab data from multiple sources into a single logical file. And we will do a couple more examples just so that, you know, you guys are used to of seeing it more than once. Okay, so I think Oriel is the only one left, or Oriel, you already gave me a green check. Okay, awesome. So guys, now let's go back to the Remote System Explorer and let's create some more logical files. And instead of saving this one as, what I would do is I will create from scratch some more logical files. And that would be a good practice for you guys to be able to see it more than once. Okay, so let me clear your feedbacks. And how about we right-click to create a new member? And this will be DEPT EMP LF2, and the type is LF. So on the very first line, when I bring my source prompt, I choose from the name type R and the record format name. What else do I need to do on this line, guys?
Needs to do the J file.
J file, okay. And then I can list the two files, which are store EMPSB and DEPTB. Okay, what do I do on the second line?
Join 1, 2.
Missing a step.
J.
Name type J, and then join 1, 2. You know, these little mistakes people make on the final exam, and then they email me and they are getting all stressed out that I'm doing everything that you told me to. The physical file or the logical file is giving me an error. I just don't understand what's going on, because sometimes these little minor details people don't pay attention to. And when you don't do those things, it will give you an error. So when you sit to do your final, make sure you pay attention to little details that are all part of the deal. That's why final exam are open notes, open book. You can use your past examples. You can use all of these resources that we have done in the past. I mean, like, the only resource you cannot use is the resource I put in the chat. Other than that, you can use all of the resources. That's the only resource that you're not allowed
Let's
to
see.
use. So
What is
again,
HR?
human resource, man. You cannot take help from
Oh,
other people.
duh. It's been a long day.
So, okay, J field, the common field. Okay, now we can start listing the fields that we want. So I will keep it very similar to the last one, that I need the first name, I need the last name, I need the department number this time, and I need the department name. I made a mistake. What mistake did I make? Purposely, I made a mistake.
You forgot to use a key field?
I'm using a common field, department number. And when you use a common field, you have to use a JREF, and you got to pick a number so that the system knows that you want the common field to come from 1 or 2. It just needs to know, because otherwise it gets confused where you want its common field to come from. So when you are done compiling, you will go to your database development perspective. You will refresh your views, and you will then look at the contents of this. And when you can see that now it will display not only the names and the department name, but will also display the department number. And then you will give me a green check so that I know that you're done with that step. Okay. Let's try one more example. And again, we'll build it from scratch. So let's create another member called, this one will be number 3 in the list. It'll be a logical file. And this time we will be doing a selection criteria. So since I'll be doing a selection criteria without a key field, we would have to use dynamic select. So let's start out with dynamic select. Make sure you choose J. Common field, that's why I'm doing a JREF. This time I'm displaying hours worked and also hourly rate. But I want to do a selection on hourly rate. That I want to display all those people whose hourly rate is over $20. And then you guys, once you are done compiling, you can check your database development. And you should now be able to see all the people whose hourly rate is over 20. Okay, so Dante and Daniela are the two people still working on it.
Hold on, I thought I
Oh.
hit the check.
Okay. Okay, awesome. Any questions, guys?
I don't think so.
I'm going back to our Blackboard course shell and I'm going to the units. And in the last unit, which was unit number 8, I gave you guys 2 assignments. Assignment 6 and 7 in unit number 8. And they're very linked assignments. As you see over here, that I asked you to create a physical file called publisher. Then I asked you to create a physical file called books. And then I asked you to put some data in them. Do you see anything common between the two? Pub ID, right. Pub ID is the common field between the two. And that was the whole reason of doing that, because I wanted to use these physical files this week to create joins. So in the previous week, I just asked you to create the files, load them with data. So you would have noticed that when I asked you to create a logical file, I said just include some of the fields in assignment number 6. And assignment number 7, the top part was already done in assignment 6. So you were only solving the 3 problems. One was to display the 3 fields where the pages were greater than 400. The second one was to display only those records where publisher city is Kenosha. And the last one was to omit all those records which are from publisher ID 11111. So again, all of these are not involving joins, but simply merely working on one of the 2 physical files. Now comes the unit number 9. In unit number 9, I'm asking you to now, using the same members and the same data, create a logical file. This would be the name of the logical file. You will select the following 4 fields from both of them. Okay? I'm not doing any special selection or omission criteria. It's a very simple logical join. And your final exam will be somewhat similar to this homework, where you would be asked to create a couple of physical files, load them with data, and write a join, which would join the content from the 2 sources. So if you can solve the assignment for joins, you can pretty much do the hands-on part of the final exam of joins. They're like very similar. It's just like it's different set of physical files with different data items. Any questions about the assignment?
What happened?
Any questions about the assignment?
No.
No.
Okay. And you guys do not have any quiz this week. All I have given you is that one assignment to work on. And here is a short version of the video, which just teaches you how to join logical files. And of course, hopefully by tonight or tomorrow, I will upload the class recording, which will be available at the top. But you have access to all these short videos also. Okay. Well, if you don't have any more questions for me, then that's all for tonight. And starting next week, we'll be diving into databases. As I told you guys that we have only a couple weeks to final exam. Right? So we will be meeting on the 20th and the 27th, and then 4th is when the final exam is due. So you'll be given your final exam on the 27th. which will be due by the 4th. So yeah. Excited?
Yes.
I was fast.
But not
Yeah.
furious.
Ah,
Okay, guys, have a good night.
have
You
a
too.
good night. Have
You
a good
too.
week.
Bye, you too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So I have a question
Mm-hmm.
with the homework. So I'm on assignment 7, problem 3. I'm trying to omit
Uh-huh.
11111
Mm-hmm.
1, but I can't.
Okay.
I don't know.
Let's have a look at it. How about that?
Okay, yeah, because I don't know what to do.
Okay. Now, the thing is this, that 111111 is, what is the data type?
It's
It's character. Go ahead, check it.
yes.
Yes. So now go back to your logical file. Okay, go back to that very last line. So that 111111 should be in single quotes.
Oh wait.
Enter. Okay. Now what you would have to do, did you already compile this logical file?
I've been trying to, but it won't let me because
Okay.
the error.
Okay. Now try compiling it now.
Oh my god.
That's
Oh
okay.
my god.
It's
Yeah,
all part of the learning process. Think about it if you were stuck on this kind of a problem on your exam,
yeah.
right? So now you know that you have to make sure that the value meets the data type criteria.
Yeah, because when I emailed you earlier about assignments 6, I was just doing it all wrong. I was literally doing it wrong. And I realized I was like, wait, okay. So yeah, I was literally just working on it. But I was stuck on this one. And I was like, I'll just give up. I can't do it. I really can't do
No giving up, businessman.
it.
I'm here to help you for that. Okay?
Thank you.
Take
I
care.
really couldn't do it. Oh man, that's perfect. Oh, thank you.
No problem. We'll see you in class Wednesday.
Yeah, see you Wednesday, man.
Yep. Have a
Have
good
a
one.
good night.
Bye.
Bye.